Over the years, Africa has maintained a fast-rising pace on the global wealth ladder. Although the continent has not achieved the standard level of technological advancement, many African countries have carved out remarkable paths for themselves, especially in business, telecom, and mining. With respect to Africa's increasing wealth, 4 major countries including Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, and Morocco. Therefore, it's not a surprise that most of the richest people in Africa come from these countries. Nevertheless, here are the top 10 richest people in Africa 2023. 10. Mohammed Mansour. Net worth, $2.5 billion. Mohammed Mansour is an Egyptian billionaire who sits at the helm of the family conglomerate, the Mansour Group. This famous company was established by his father Lufti Mansour in 1952. The company is a true giant of industry with over 60,000 full-time employees. Mohammed Mansour established General Motors dealership in Egypt in 1975, and then grew to become one of General Motors' biggest distributors worldwide. Having acquired a taste for vehicle sales, he went on to partner with heavy-duty machinery company, Caterpillar, getting the sole distribution rights to their equipments in Egypt and other African countries. He has taken care of his family business, and his brothers Yassin and Yusuf are also billionaires. 9. Patrice Motsepe. Net worth, $2.7 billion. Patrice Motsepe claims a reputable feat of not only as one of the richest men in Africa, but also as the first and only South African billionaire of black descent. He has a brilliant mind and is trained as a lawyer. In fact, he became the first Black Panther at law firm Bowman Gilfillan in Johannesburg. He was assigned to draft contracts for partnerships and ventures between miners. In 1994, he ventured into mining by buying low-producing gold mine shafts and turning them profitable. Apart from his mineral mining ventures, he also owns a private equity firm, African Rainbow Capital, which focuses on investing in Africa. He has also contributed to South Africa's expansive business sector, particularly through his company African Rainbow Minerals. The company is one of the country's biggest mining companies, and it specializes in iron, platinum, gold, chrome, nickel, copper, coal, and manganese. Besides his dignified business involvement, Patrice Motsepe has drawn his investment attention to sports, where he owns and presides over Mamelodi Sundowns Football Club. 8. Naguib Sawiris. Net worth, $3.1 billion. Naguib Sawiris is the brother of Nassef Sawiris, and the two brothers are well known as the reputable sons of Ansi Sawiris. Together, they are not just the most powerful family in Egypt, but perhaps the continent at large. Naguib Sawiris runs the telecom sector of a voluminous parent company, Orascom, making him one of the biggest telecom moguls in Egypt. Naguib Sawiris has built his empire in telecommunications. He sold Orascom Telecom to Vian, a Russian company. He is the chairman of Orascom TMT Investments, which sells the internet in Egypt and Italy. He is also the majority owner of Euronews. Naguib Sawiris has also privately built a resort called Silver Sands in Grenada, and his family holding company La Mancha has stakes in Endeavour Mining, Evolution Mining, and Golden Star Resources, which have gold mining operations in Africa and Australia. 7. Abdulsamad Rabiu. Net worth, $4.3 billion. Abdulsamad Rabiu is a Nigerian billionaire who is the founder and chairman of Bua Group, a Nigerian conglomerate that has huge operations in cement production, real estate, as well as sugar production. In early January of 2020, Abdulsamad Rabiu merged his privately owned Obu Cement Company with the larger Cement Corporation of Northern Nigeria. That merger gave birth to Bua Cement plc, which now trades on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Abdulsamad Rabiu retains control of the company with ownership of 98.5% of the company shares. This makes him one of the wealthiest people in Nigeria and Africa at large. 6. Issad Rebrab. Net worth, $4.8 billion. Issad Rebrab is an Algerian billionaire and the main factor behind the establishment of Savital, the biggest private conglomerate in Algeria. Savital is a holding company with diversified interests. The company is prominent for being in control of one of the world's biggest sugar refineries, and has the capacity to produce 2 million tons of refined sugar every year. Besides sugar refining, Savital is also concerned with agriculture, mining, port terminals, and distribution of automobiles. Through this thriving company, Issad Rebrab has made a great business fortune, and is the 6th wealthiest person in Africa. 5. Mike Adenuga. Net worth, $6.6 billion. Mike Adenuga, a telecommunications mogul, is a Nigerian billionaire of Yoruba descent. He is the owner of Globacom, one of the biggest telecommunications companies operating across the lengths and breadths of Nigeria. He has built his empire on telecom and oil production. His mobile phone network, Globacom, is the 3rd largest operator in Nigeria and has operations in several African countries. They are also a major supplier of internet data bundle packages, and the company has its own undersea fiber optic cable. Besides his telecom company, Mike Adenuga has also ventured into the oil and gas sector, where he runs his own oil company. His oil company, CONOIL, operates 6 oil blocks in the Niger Delta and has a wide chain of retail distribution franchises. Year after year, Mike Adenuga has seen significant increase in his wealth, and he is currently the 2nd richest person in Nigeria and the 5th richest in Africa. 4. Nicky Oppenheimer. Net worth, $8 billion. Nicky Oppenheimer is one of the most influential businessmen in South Africa, and he is one of the richest people on the African continent, mainly due to his thriving diamond business. Nicky Oppenheimer is the head of one of South Africa's richest families. His family held a 40% stake in diamond firm De Beers, until 2012, when Nicky sold off his stake to mining group Anglo American for $5.1 billion. His family has been in the mining business for 3 generations, and it is said that they controlled the diamond trade all around the world from their palace in South Africa. Together with his family, Nicky Oppenheimer's net worth is valued at $9.5 billion. As a diamond magnate, Nicky has built a massive business empire for himself, and he is one of the richest men on the African continent. In 2014, Oppenheimer founded Fireblade Aviation in Johannesburg. The company operates a fleet of small planes and helicopters for chartered flights. Oppenheimer is also one of South Africa's biggest landlords with 720 square miles of conservation land across South Africa, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. 3. Nassef Sawiris. Net worth, $8.2 billion. Nassef Sawiris, an Egyptian billionaire, is a standalone among a family of billionaires. He is the head of Egypt's wealthiest family, and his brother Naguib is also ridiculously wealthy. Nassef Sawiris split the family business Orascom Construction Industries into 2 entities. OCI and Orascom Construction. He heads OCI, which is one of the world's biggest producers of nitrogen fertilizers. The company has operations in Texas and Loa and is publicly traded on the Euronext Amsterdam exchange. The other half of the conglomerate Orascom Construction, which is an engineering and building firm, is publicly traded on the Cairo Exchange and Nasdaq Dubai. Aside from his Orascom chain of companies, Nassef Sawiris has other assets which include stake in cement giant Lafarge Holcim and sports kit manufacturer Adidas. Nassef Sawiris together with some business associates have purchased a controlling stake in Aston Villa Football Club. 2. Johann Rupert. Net worth, $10.4 billion. Johann Rupert is a South African billionaire who is endowed with a host of business magnates who has transformed the country's business sector through their business empires. Johann Rupert is not only a billionaire but also an incredible person who has made a business fortune through his luxury goods outfit. Johann Rupert lives in South Africa but runs a huge luxury goods business in Switzerland called Compagnie Financière Richemont. Cartier and Montblanc are some of the most famous brands produced by the company. Compagnie Financière Richemont was formed in 1998 when Rembrandt Group Limited diversified. And Rembrandt Group Limited was founded by his father Anton Rupert, in the 1940s. Johann Rupert still sits on the chairman's seat at Rembrandt, even though he now only owns a 7% stake in the company. He also has a sizable investment holding company registered in Luxembourg. He also owns part of the Sacrans English rugby team, and Anthony Rupert Wines is a company he named after his late brother. Rupert is also the highest shareholder in Shoprite, which is Africa's biggest supermarket chain and retail outlet. Aliko Dangote. Net worth, $13 billion. Although Dangote's net worth has suffered a series of setbacks for about 2 consecutive years, the reputable Nigerian businessman has maintained the highest spot on this list as Africa's richest person, and the world's richest black man. Dangote have dominated this spot for almost a decade. Alhaji Aliko Dangote is famous around the world for being the wealthiest man in Africa. He sits at the head of a vast conglomerate of companies which he founded, and which all bear his name, Dangote Group. Dangote Cement is the largest cement producer on the continent. And he owns nearly 85% of the publicly traded company through his holding company Dangote Group. Dangote Cement produces 45.6 million metric tons of the essential commodity every year and has operations in 10 countries across Africa. Dangote Group also comprises of Dangote Sugar, Dangote Salt, and Dangote Flour. For several years, he has held the monopoly of importation of rice, and his Dangote refinery is set to take oil production in Africa by storm. Dangote's current net worth is valued at a whopping $13 billion. So, there you have it, explorers. The top 10 richest men in Africa 2023. Which of these billionaires inspires you the most? And why? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any our future uploads regarding the interesting continent of Africa. TNX for watching this one, catch you all in the next.